Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everybody. I hope you're doing well. This is part two of the comedy. Normally, I don't do this, but with Sheikh Saeed Jawad, I'm like, okay, brother, I'm not going to talk about. I'm going to come on 2 days in a row. I'm going to give a big shout out to the panel that just happened before. My main man, Jihad Saleh, dropping science and drinking Kool-Aid at the same time. Alhamdulillah, brother. I saw that. Well, brothers and sisters, I'm here to tell you I'm a special kind of Muslim. If I could be my own sect, it just be I'm a Muslim that's trying to get from day to day. And I think we need to share that. We need to have some fun with that, brothers and sisters, because I don't know about you. I've been a Muslim for a long time, over 30 years. And I have to say this. Muslims are all right with me when you start looking at the rest of the world. I mean, I was down in Texas. Texas had a deep freeze. A Senator Ted Cruz, left his state and went to Cancun in the middle of a deep freeze. That's not what got me upset, brothers and sisters. It's not that he abandoned the state of Texas. It's that when the man came back to a state that was freezing to death, he didn't have on a coat, a jacket, a parka, a sweater, a scarf. He had on a tight Isaiah Lacoste shirt. It looked like a male onesie. And this guy just didn't worry about it. But I have to say, I'm venting a little bit. The reason is I'm tired of people picking on Muslims. I'm tired of people picking on Muslims. I'm like, look at you. That's the perfect thing. Whenever somebody picks on a Muslim, you just need to look and go, hey, look at you. Mic drop. Okay. And I'm going to tell you what, people don't understand Muslims, because we're an eclectic group. See, even when I became Muslim, I took my Shahada. It was funny, because I'm going to be honest. When I became Muslim, I didn't tell my mother right away. I tried to drop clues I was Muslim. The problem is I dropped really bad clues. The clues I dropped for my mother I was Muslim. I stopped drinking. I started hanging out with the fellas. I stopped drinking. And I stopped chasing ladies. Yeah. My mom didn't think I was Muslim. She thought I was, yeah. And the worst part about it is I didn't tell her. We're about to have a conversation. And I'm trying to tell her that I'm Muslim. She thinks it's something totally different. Totally different. Now, you guys know, I don't know if you know, but when you become Muslim, you fall in love with the phrases, the language, the syntax, if you will, the lexicon. My three favorite phrases were Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum assalam, and I used to say them together. The other one was Kefaholic. I saw my mom one day. She's like, baby, I need to talk to you. I was like, Kefaholic, mama. She was like, I care for alcoholics too, baby. That's so thankful. That's so great, thoughtful of you. The other word was deen, spelled D-E-E-N. Now, you know what deen is. It tells you, as Muslims, you got to communicate better. Deen is D-E-E-N, means the faith. But to my mom, she thought it was an actual person. So there we are at the dinner table. I'm trying to tell her about my new faith. She thinks there's something totally different about to come down the pike. I was like, Mom, I need to talk to you. She's like, I said, I've been going through some changes. She's like, I know you have, but that's all right. I said, I've made some changes in my life. She said, okay, not too many. I said, I'm trying to get my life straight. She was like, straight is good. Straight is good. I said, Mom, I stopped drinking. She said, that's good. So hang out with the ladies. I said, that's good. I said, Mama, she goes, what? I said, I got Dean in my life. She was like, who is Dean? Don't you bring Dean around here. I will kill you and Dean. The worst part about it is she gets it all wrong. And then she tells my dad and gets him all worked up. Now, my dad is a classic, elderly black man. And I don't know what happens. Maybe it happens across cultures. But fathers at a certain point in time, their communication always sounds like a car trying to start in the cold. So my father walks in with me. He's like, he wanted to say, hey, son, your mom's upset. Tell me what's going on. He sounded like this. That's a whole sentence, brothers and sisters. And I'm like, what? He was like, I was like, no, Pops. I said, I'm a Muslim. Deen means faith. Deen means faith. He's like, hold on a minute. Mary, get in here. The boy seen a woman named Faith. See how that works out? Funny stuff, people. In fact, when I first became Muslim, I'm going to tell y'all something. I was so trusting. I followed the guy around for 3.5 weeks. I thought he was a sheikh. You know why? Because he had a beard all the way down to his knees. In fact, brothers and sisters, let me throw this out here. You know, it was a pretty beard. It was one of those beards where it shines at night. Like if you could put a microphone on it, you probably hear some beautiful sounds like, oh. Now, he was not a sheikh. Turned out he had taken his shahada about 2 months before me. So it's a case of the blind leading the blind. But I always say God gives you clues. Allah gives you clues that is not what you think it is. My first clue, we were hanging out. Thank you, Sister Fatima. My first clue is we were hanging out, Washington, D.C. We heard the Don go off. His name was Abdullah Black. He named himself. The Don goes off. I was like, hey, Abdullah, you hear that? That's the Don. He goes, is that what that is? I said, yeah, man, you want to go pray? He was like, why not? And people, I'm going to tell you how Muslims are. We started walking. They saw that beard. They got hypnotized. And all of a sudden, they were like, please, Sheikh, lead the prayer, lead the prayer, lead the prayer. Now, keep in mind, I haven't seen him pray in like 3 weeks. Yeah, lead the prayer. I was like, dude, don't lead the prayer. He said, preach. These people love me. They just made me a sheikh. And then a little tear rolled down. So you went to read the prayer. I'm going to just say this to keep it smooth, brothers and sisters. I was a part of the longest, potentially the longest Asa prayer in the history of mankind. It was just him standing in front of people, not knowing any surahs. He was just like this. In fact, he didn't even salam out. He just turned around. He was like, y'all good? Now, here's the second reason I know he might not be a sheikh. We were sitting around, and he's like, preach, I like hanging around with you. I said, likewise, my brother. He said, no, you don't understand. I feel like I could be myself with you. I said, my brother, always feel like you could be yourself with me. As soon as I said that, he pulled out a bag of marijuana. And I was like, yo, I can't be myself like that. I know I'm new, but I know we can't do that. He goes, oh, man, relax. Yes, you can. I said, no, you can't. He goes, yes, you can. I was like, no, you can't. I said, dude, you cannot do that. He said, preach, relax. He goes, this weed right here, this weed? He goes, this weed is halal. I was like, how is it halal? He goes, I bought it from another Muslim. My point is that you have to enjoy life, man. And you know, the funny part is when you become Muslim, when you convert, all of a sudden you're like everybody's target to get married. You know, you need to get married now. You need to get married now. You need to get married now. You know why I'm so good right now talking with nobody in the room, nobody listening to me? Because I've been married 18 years. All right, I digress. My wife's not watching. I mean, hopefully not. But you know what? And you got to celebrate your wife. I tell brothers, you know, celebrate your wives. You know why? Because people, they put things on Muslims all the time. I was seeing something, you know, Muslim women are oppressed. Muslim women are oppressed. I'm like, no, they are not. I married a Muslim woman. Listen to me. I'm oppressed, happily oppressed. But I'm here to just say, you know, just these things that people are going out saying. And I'm going to say something because a young man interviewed me for, I believe it was this project. It's a Shia brother, young brother. And it was funny because I'm going to show you the look on his face when he realized it wasn't Shia. You ready? He goes, let me show you the look. And I told him, relax. I said, we're all brothers, man. I'm going to tell y'all something. If the police were to bust both of us, we're going to get the same time. So I'm going to tell folks, you know, we need to come together. You know why? Because there's just stupidity abound. All the hate groups now are getting nonprofit status. So I'm telling all of our communities to pull together. And I'm the one to help us. I'm an expert because I realize little clues and stuff. They test us to see if we're stupid. Muslims, we need to be more aware of the little tricks they do, like the weather. I'm old school. I'm 54 years old. The reason I'm saying this is because they have everybody duped. When I was growing up, we didn't have 24-hour weather. You know why? Here's the reason. If it was 80 degrees at 1 o'clock, there's a good chance it's going to be 80 degrees at 1:02. You don't need 24-hour weather. Let me show you how the weather report used to be back in 76. To find out how the weather is, let's go out to Joey. Joey, how's the weather? Oh, it's good. Thank you, Joey. That's it. Now they have 24-hour weather to distract us. And they insult us when they give us the weather, brothers and sisters. You can look it up. I'm not lying. I am not lying. This is my proof. The next time you look at a weather report, realize they don't give you the weather. They give you the weather and then they tell you what it feels like. I'm serious. They give you the weather and then they tell you what it feels like. Like you don't know what it feels like. I'm down in Texas, Houston, Texas. They actually had a guy come on. It was during the summer. He goes, here in Houston, Texas, it's 103 degrees. Feels like 103 degrees. I know what 103 degrees feels like. Feel like hell, man. Shut up. They make it seem like all of a sudden we need to have somebody go to school, get their bachelor's, master's, and PhD just to specifically tell us how it feels like. I took some cough syrup on an empty stomach, brothers and sisters. I had a dream. You know what my dream was? That there was an actual feel-like guy that worked in the meteorology service. I was watching, the guy came out. He says, well, to find out the weather, let's go out to Bob. Bob, how's the weather? He actually goes, here in Houston, Texas, 106 degrees. To find out what it feels like, let's go out to Bob. How's it feel like, Bob? Feels like I can't have more kids anymore, Joe. Back to you. That's my point, brothers and sisters. Do we really even need this? Do we really even need this? So I just came on to express myself and be amongst friends and family. And I say, don't suffer fools and hypocrites. You know why? Because we're smart. I figured this thing out, and I want everybody to think about it. If you want people to stop hating on Muslims, hating on black people, hating on Native Americans, whatever your persuasion, Sunni, Shia, this is what we did. We need to come up with legislation like Jihad said. You need some legislation. If you're going to call me a slur, this is the deal. You got to have a license to do it. You can call me the N-word all you want, but you're going to pay me. That's right. And anybody, and if somebody says something about Muslims, I'm like, hey, you have a license to talk about us that way? And if they don't have a license, then we get to charge them a penalty. Like each time you say a slur against a Muslim or African American or Native American or Latino, I believe the fine should be at least $30,000 to $40,000 for each slur. And I guess what? I'm telling you, you'll realize just how broke racists are. Listen, brothers and sisters, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. I ran into a guy. He was homeless and racist. I didn't know you could do both. Did you? And I'm sitting here with this guy. And he goes, did you see my sign? I said, yeah. He goes, you can't read, can't you? I was like, yeah, bro, I can read. You spell work wrong. There's no E in work. This guy got all upset. My point being, brothers and sisters, we have to come together because I'm sad to say it. People who are doing racism and Islamophobia, the quality has gone down tremendously. And like everybody can't do it. Everybody believes they could do it. Years ago, I was on a KKK website doing some research. Now, let me tell y'all something. Don't feel special. They hate everybody. Blacks, Latinos, gays, lesbians, Jews. They hate everybody. I mean, black people still number one. Hey. But they hate everybody. And I was on this website, and here was the interesting part. They wrote an article about every group they hated. And brothers and sisters, I read them all. And let me give them a little credit. I don't know who wrote the articles, but whoever wrote the articles made very, very compelling arguments. I was reading an article about black people. Heck, about 10 minutes into it, I stopped liking black people. I was like, we are out of control. But I see my time is about up. And I just want to make sure everybody knows that I appreciate you having me on your platform. Sheikh Saeed Jawad, thank you for having me on your platform, brother. We decided we're going to make it happen. We talked about it. Beautiful brother. all of you folks, I hope to see you. Check me out on Instagram at Preacher Mos. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know how you're feeling. I have a show called the Shout Out Show. It's a daily show. And Sheikh Saeed Jawad, I want you on my show. I want people on this platform on my show so we can get together and start having some really good vibe and unity. So other than that, I'm about to bounce. Because you know what? This is in my house. Take care, everybody. Preacher Mos. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Big ups.